What's up you guys, it's Aisling. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a review of the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Luminous Matte Coverage Foundation in the new formula. I purchased this the day it came out. I think it was out on like the 24th of January and today is the 28th. Delivery is ridiculously quick from Huda Beauty online. I think they ship almost worldwide. The foundation ended up being a bit cheaper on the Huda Beauty website than it would have been on Boots or Cult Beauty or anywhere else that sells Huda Beauty. This ended up costing me €33, 39 shades in this. I wanted to test the new formula against the old formula. This foundation came out over 3 years ago and I tested it out. After using it over time, the scent of it was starting to make me feel sick. It's just overwhelmingly strong. It kind of has like a floral scent to it. It kind of smells like old lady scent. I'm not into it at all. I hated the scent of it and it used to linger on my skin all day. It was the major reason that I was turned off this foundation initially. They have released the new formula of it and it has no, and I mean no, fragrance at all. It's non-comedogenic, can never say that word. No transfer, non-drying. I presume that's it's not drying on the skin, or that it doesn't, like it does actually dry and set, but that it's not drying on the skin. 39 shades, super long wear, 24 hours, waterproof, mask proof, sweat proof, a luminous matte skin finish. So that is kind of everything it claims to be. When I initially tried the old formula, the biggest comments I was getting in regards to this was that it was highly chemically formulated. I haven't read the actual ingredient list on this to compare to the old one, but the ingredient list on it is quite large. So this video is just going to be talking about the formula, not the ingredients list. It's just going to be talking about how it performed on my skin and what I actually think of it. But I do recommend looking into the ingredients in the new one and comparing them to the old one to see what they've actually taken out, because I do know that was a major issue. I don't think I've ever tried a foundation in my life that I've gotten so many comments about the ingredients list. I would definitely look into that. I am not a dermatologist, so when it comes to like skincare and ingredients and stuff, I'm probably not the best person, but I'm sure some of you guys will actually tell me what's best to look out for. I'm going to compare these side by side. They are two different shades and I'll talk about the shades in a mere moment, but when I am comparing them side by side, what I'm going to be looking for is longevity, how they perform on my skin, what they look like at the end of the day. So the shade that I did get is in Latte. Initially I got the shade Tres Leches, which is a golden undertone. I'm more of a neutral undertone, so I ended up getting Latte, which is a neutral shade, and it's 300N. The shade that I previously had in Tres Leche was 320G. I have not actually used this particular foundation in a long time, so I actually don't know how bad the shade is. The bottles are exactly the same. There's no difference. The writing is the same on them. The component that they're in is the same. It has that ombre black with the Huda Beauty in the white and pink writing. It has a matte black lid. I always actually really liked the packaging of this. It looks like a glass bottle, but it's actually plastic, so it's really easy to travel with. And then the shade number is on the bottom. On the Huda Beauty website, I was actually really impressed with the breakdown of how to select your shade. So it'll ask you like your skin color. Are you really fair, light, dark, medium, like light, medium, whatever. It goes through all the spectrum. Then it asks you for your undertone and it describes the undertones on your skin, like golden, cool and neutral are the three that they carry, and then it will select your shade based on the stuff that you put in. So it came up with Latte for me. I swatched it this morning just to double check and it is a perfect shade match, so I'm hoping it looks good in my face. Anyway, I have been rambling on for so long, like the longest intro ever on this foundation. Let's get it on my face. Taking the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Primer today. This wear test is going to be different to other wear tests. Normally I will apply it with a brush on one side and then apply with a beauty sponge on the other. Instead I'm just going to prime my entire face, and I'm comparing the old formula to the new, so I'm just going to set everything the same, use all the same products underneath just so that there's no variation. Okay, so I need to get a lightening drop for the old one. So I just want to show you what the shades look like swatched on my face. So this is Tres Leches and this is the new one that I got in Latte. So Latte definitely matches my skin a bit more. I will do an up close on the back of my hand so you can see the comparison in the shades. As you can see, Tres Leches is very, very warm and Latte is just neutral and it matches my skin, I think, much better. Going in with a brush, this is the Expert Face Brush from Real Techniques. I'm just going to apply the old one on this side of my face. I've just added a tiny bit of a lightening drop to it just so it kind of blends in a bit better so that I'm not looking completely and utterly crazy. And I've only taken a dot of this foundation because from memory it is very full coverage. So this is Tres Leches in the old formula. Less is definitely more. The very first time I used this, which is why I sometimes hate doing first impressions, I went in with like maybe like 3 pumps of this foundation thinking that that's, you know, that's how much I needed, whereas that's very, very ill-advised. I'll show you how full coverage it is. It can like literally block out the colour of my lips. Like, it's insane. You can just see the coverage that you get from it. It is ridiculous. So do use less. Even if you like a full coverage foundation, you can always add in more. I do find that this particular foundation to be quite heavy and cake-like. I wear full coverage things like Estee Lauder Double Wear and it never feels like that on my skin. So this was kind of another issue I had with this. I don't think they've changed that from the new formula, but we'll see. I'm taking the same brush. I'm more keen to see how this goes. Obviously the shade is much better for me. And I covered up that dirty spot. I am noticing something straight off the bat. I use the exact same quantity of foundation. I've only gotten as far as underneath my eye. It's not as spreadable and movable as this. Now I do realize I added in a drop of this so it would add a little bit more product, but it was like literally a tiny drop. Just gonna take my beauty sponge just to blend that all into the skin. I'm so happy with that shade. But Latte for me, perfect color. Like, it's so good, whereas this side is just a bit too golden, as you can see. So I'm pretty happy with that. I just feel like this one is less full coverage than this side. So the older formula seems to just have a little bit more of like a thickness to it and more coverage. Like, it's definitely a thicker formula. This one's a lighter formula, like more lightweight formula, and I just needed more of the actual product just to spread around my face, which was weird to touch. They feel exactly the same. They're both sticky, so they don't like set down. Not noticing a massive difference in the actual appearance on my skin. I do have oily skin, so I'm gonna have to set this down on my face, but I am liking the appearance of the new one. Like, I actually really genuinely like it. I feel like the old one is just so mask-like on my skin. It's covered up everything, whereas this hasn't. Like, I can still make out some of my little molds and stuff on my skin, whereas on this side, like, it's just, no, it has covered everything. Like, I have a mold down here and it's kind of like taking all the colour out of it. I do prefer this side already, straight off the bat. It just feels lighter. It doesn't feel as heavy and thick. This side just feels so thick and I can still smell the perfume in it, but I'm not noticing anything right off the bat. I'm not noticing any sinking into fine lines or into pores or anything like that. It's just a heavy consistency on the skin, and I'm not noticing that as much on this side, which is really random, but I think it's just because you could see from the spreading of the foundation I needed more on this side. So it's just obviously a little bit lighter weight. Now, it's still a pretty heavy duty foundation and probably the heaviest, thickest foundation that I own. So it is midday. I am going to try and wear this for 12 hours just so you guys can get a good judgment on what it looks like. I'm going to go off camera now, finish the rest of my makeup, and I'll pop back just to kind of say how everything performed and if I noticed any difference side by side. But straight away, I'm actually quite liking the new formula. So we'll see how we get on during the day, because when it's been on your skin for a significant amount of time, that's kind of when you can judge. Anyway guys, I'll talk to you in the mere moment when I finished my face. Makeup finished, and I just said I'd come back to you guys just to show you what's on my face, even though I'm not that impressed with the makeup that I did today. I just like flew through it, and then how everything kind of went on top of the foundation. I'm wearing the Jaclyn Hill and Morphe palette on my eyes today. I took the shade up here in my crease, the shade underneath and the outer V, and then I built it up, with this brown and this kind of brown here, just on the outer corner, and just smoked it all in. I am wearing lashes from Penny's, or the 3D Vixen lashes. I did a bit of cream contouring with the Huda Quickie Contour Stick, and then I applied the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil Bronzer over top. Cheeks, I have Life's Peach blush from L'Oreal. I have Rodeo Drive highlighter on, and I have Oak lip liner from MAC and a bit of Myth in the middle. So they're all the things that are on my face. On both sides, I didn't really notice any difference with the products going on top. I set everything down with a translucent powder, my Lacura one from Aldi. I set everything in place. The concealer I used was the L'Oreal Infallible concealer, and everything went on top both sides kind of equally. There was no difference. I didn't notice anything been more dry on this side or that side. They both feel quite smooth. They both feel the same. And looking at them both in the mirror up close, I'm not really noticing a huge difference. The only thing I will say is I can see my pores a teeny bit more on this side, but I might have more accentuated pores on this side anyway. I'm not noticing any huge difference in appearance right now on my skin. It was more the initial application. As far as performance and longevity, we'll have to see later on. I think this is probably as up close and personal as it can get. As you can probably see from this close up, they both look flawless on my skin. Like, I really think that they both look insanely gorgeous. Sorry, I kind of like missed blending my contour on this side. Please ignore. I do feel a tiny bit more weight on this side, if that makes any sense. Like, just feels like there's more product on this side, but we'll just have to wait and see as I go on. As my natural oils come through, that's when we're going to have the issues, if we have any. I'll check back in with you in a few more hours, guys, and we'll see how we're getting on. I'm going to do my check-ins like I normally do every 3 to 4 hours, and I'll talk to you later. So as you can see, I'm doing a voiceover, guys. After 4.5 hours, I'm doing my first check-in. I completely forgot to turn the microphone on. This does not go on for too long. I'm so sorry. We're having serious technical issues in today's video. I left the house just between the last clip and this clip. I went and picked up a Subway, so I was wearing a mask, and I'm just explaining how the mask has rubbed off a little bit of foundation, but this only happened on the new formula side, so I don't really know if that's like a major discrepancy in the formula or a change in the formula, but you know, when you're wearing a mask anyway, most of your foundation does rub off. I actually found that this foundation stayed intact better than any other foundation I've ever used with a mask. Obviously, because I've been wearing a mask since March, I have tried wearing multiple different foundations, and this one is actually one of the best that has stayed intact whilst wearing one. I feel like this is the nicest that the foundation has looked throughout the day. I really liked it. I caught myself in a mirror when I was in my car and I was just looking at it up close, and I actually really liked the appearance of it. But 4 hours in, I wouldn't expect too much of a disappointment in the wear of the foundation because it hasn't been on long enough and my natural oils haven't had a go at breaking it down yet, but I did really like the appearance of it at this time of the day. I'm back for my 8-hour update. My phone's just after dying, so I'm just charging it now. 28 minutes past 8 anyway. So I think this is kind of like the time of the day when you want your makeup to kind of be lasting too. I know I do. I want my foundation to be lasting till the 8-hour mark, especially if you're at work, if you're at school, or for a night out or whatever. But I have a couple of observations from the last time I checked in with you guys. Obviously, you can kind of see on my chin here, I have a little bit of oiliness and in between my brows. And I'm definitely noticing it on both sides, so I don't think it's anything to do with the formula. It's just my oily skin. I am feeling much better, like more positive about the foundation because my oils have started to come through. I think it makes the foundation look a little bit more on the dewy side to my skin. I know this describes itself as a luminous matte foundation, but I don't really feel like it's luminous at all. Like, I feel like it's quite flat, and I do feel like if you are drier and you do not like that kind of flat matte foundation, that this is not really going to be for you. I have noticed as well on this side, I talked about this earlier, that it has sunken into just a few of my pores here. There's no creasing around the mouth or anything like that. It has faded a bit off there where I was leaning because I tend to lean on this side of my face, so I'm not really going to judge too much about that. This side is perfect, like there's no kind of wearing off. It has worn off a little bit around that spot that I have on my chin. Not a major concern after 8 hours to cover up things like blemishes or acne or spots. It might wear away because that's like a telltale sign, like it's worn away off that. But everything else looks okay. It's not my favorite looking foundation on my skin. I'm going to be frank and honest with you guys. I love my foundations. They're my favorite thing I own apart from bronzers. I love them so much in my makeup collection, and I always pick up new ones. I love trying different formulas. It's 100% not my favorite foundation. Am I not going to use it? No, I will use it. If I want like a more full coverage foundation, it would be my go-to, because I can't actually think of anything else other than maybe the Maybelline Superstay that is quite full coverage as well. I'm not noticing too much of a difference between either side, to be fair, other than the scent, the longevity, the wear, everything like that is pretty much the exact same. So if you did love the old formula, I feel like you're going to love the new formula as well, unless you loved the old formula for the scent. I just think that the foundation itself is exactly the same. You just might need a little bit more with this one, like we did see that earlier. Just to give you a better like look at this foundation up close, you can see it's just worn off a little bit where my glasses are. That kind of tends to happen all the time. And just like the little bit of wearing here. To be fair, like my skin does look good. It still looks like, oh, she just applied her foundation, and I'm pretty happy with it. It's just that it is a thicker consistency. It's not my favorite kind of consistency. That's all down to your personal preference and what you kind of like formula wise from a foundation. So anyway, I'm going to go and make myself a cup of tea. I'm watching the OC at present. Trip down memory lane. I was obsessed with that when I was a teenager. Like, I mean obsessed. Actually, I don't even think I was a teenager when I was out. I was like maybe like 12 when it came out. But whenever that came out, I was so in love with it. I'm just watching like old box sets I have. It's also on the Channel 4 player, I think, as well. But anyway, that's what I'm presently doing. Check in with you guys around midnight, because that'll be 12 hours, and we'll see how she's looking then. So we're finally at the end of the day, guys. It has been a full 12 hours that I've worn this. It is actually 12:41 now. I feel that the foundation has definitely broken down on my chin area, and it's both sides, so that's nothing to do with like the formula or anything. It's just probably the foundation in general, both of them, because I would have obviously been leaning there or like touching my chin or whatever. It has like worn away a little bit up here on the old formula side, but I think between 8 and 12 hours the breakdown of the foundation was pretty normal, and I didn't notice any difference between the old formula and the new formula. I feel like they look completely the same. I don't notice any like difference in wear and tear on my face or anything like that. The foundation has like done its job for the day and worn down. I definitely will be using this foundation again, but I'll be using it like I did today, really sparingly, using the tiniest amount. I don't care that after 12 hours it's faded away. I'd rather it look like that than look like a cakey mess throughout the day. So I am going to continue using this and keep you up to date with how I'm feeling about the new formula. I am so much happier with the new formula than the old formula. But in my opinion, there's not a huge difference between them other than the points that I've made a few times in this video. You can see just the wearing down on my jaw, and the spot is pretty evident now. My chin, it's completely worn away. The other side is looking fine. There's just like a little bit of fading, but nothing kind of crazy. I would say the most kind of evident stuff is going on around here. That's what it looks like up close. So I'm only going to speak in regards to the new formula because obviously the old one's been discontinued now, and just talk about a couple of pros and cons of it. Obviously the major pro of this foundation now is that it's fragrance free. I also really do like that it is full coverage, and it says that, and it kind of is what it says on the tin, like it's full coverage and that's what you get. I think the price point of this for a high-end foundation at €33 is pretty acceptable. I mean, most high-end foundations you roughly pay between 30 and €50, so it kind of falls in that category of being a high-end price tag, and it's not too outrageous in my opinion. The colour selection is great, and I do like the undertones, and selecting it is wonderful, and I really liked that whole color selection thing. Like, my final pro of this foundation is obviously the packaging. Plastic bottle. I like that it has a pump on it. It's really easy to, you know, get out. The cons that I do have with this foundation is you just need to be really careful when you are applying it. As high coverage that it is, you can tend to make this look super cakey. I won't say that this foundation wows me any more than some of the drugstore foundations that I use on a daily basis, but I am not into that like full coverage mask like makeup anymore. Like, I haven't worn my makeup like that in maybe like a year and a half. I only do it if I am on camera, but in my day-to-day life I like something really dewy, really fresh, really lightweight. I've mentioned that before. So for me, it's like a double-edged sword. It's an advantage when I want a bit of coverage, but it's a disadvantage when I kind of want my skin to be looking a little bit lightweight. Like, it's obviously you won't be picking this up if you want like more lightweight, like summery, fresh, dewy kind of skin. Also, I don't really feel that there's that much luminosity off this foundation. I feel like the luminosity that I've gotten from the foundation has been from my highlighter and my oily skin. Take that as you will. All in all, I will say that this is a really good foundation and I really like it. I'm going to continue to use it. It just is not my favorite in my collection. I have others that I would pick over it, but I will continue to use it. I probably have more of an opinion after using it for the rest of the month, so keep an eye out for my February hits and misses just to see, you know, how I did get on with it. If you have the old version and you are enjoying it and you love it, there is no need to rush out and get the new version. There's not a whole lot of difference in my opinion. I want to say a huge thank you to all of you guys for watching today. It's been a long day and I'm glad that you made it to the end of the video. If there's any other foundation reviews you would like me to do in the future, or just something that you want me to review in general, let me know. And I will talk to all of you guys in my next video. Mwah! Bye guys!